We're in a pay-to-play industry, and unfortunately, you have to pay before you ever get to play.
On closing day, the seller had actually passed an hour before his signing.
Young couple, and they sent their funds to what they thought was a title company.
It's becoming, and it's going to become harder and harder for the younger generation to be able to buy that first house.
Just Say It podcast.
We've got Veronica Warwick and Jeanette. And Jeanette, I understand you work with Veronica, but super excited. V, thank you for joining us today. So a little intro. Veronica and I have been friends for a very long time, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But Veronica is a realtor on the single-family residential side. And as far as I'm concerned, serial entrepreneur, always trying cool and different business endeavors, and something that I've always looked up to, and a quality that Veronica has. So, Veronica, thank you so much. Hopefully, I got that right. And if you don't mind, you can, tell us a little bit about how you got started, what you're doing now. And just want to hear and learn a little bit more about you.
Okay. Well, moved here from California in 1993? 96. Sorry, 96. I worked in property management for a long time. And so I thought, well, I'm coming to Texas to see what it looks like there. Property management in Texas is way different than in California.
Yeah.
So,
and multifamily
property management. Yeah, I work for a developer.
So, yeah, I've got a little bone to pick there. Why didn't you call me to renovate some of your properties?
In California, I didn't know you then.
Yeah. Well,
simple.
I mean,
and you were still in high school, I'm sure.
I was like 3 years old.
Yeah, maybe.
So.
I gave you high
She could
school.
have called your dad.
yeah, for sure. Thank you, Jeanette. Appreciate it.
Had I known, absolutely. But yeah,
Yeah.
we worked for a developer. We used to go in and unfortunately move everybody out, and clear the whole place, and just go in and read.
Oh, so you're experiencing full value add,
Yes.
like some serious value add.
We have to go in and do our due diligence, and sometimes we walk in these apartments and we're like, "Holy heck, what is this?"
Yeah.
Funny story. We had a young guy, single, lived in his apartment. We walked in, the entire ceiling had beer bottle caps. Now,
Like the entire ceiling?
The entire ceiling.
Yeah.
And the property was built back in the 70s, so we're sure there's asbestos in there somewhere, after he's, but yeah, things like that. But it was interesting.
You were in property management.
Yeah.
She knows all these terms that we...
Want to keep that? I mean, that's
it was
beautiful decor.
Yeah. But I mean, I love the developers that I worked for. They were amazing people. And then we moved here, and then I started to dabble and see what property management looks like. And it's just way different. And I thought, I'm just not doing that anymore. So, which real estate school.
And how long did you do property management for?
Oh my gosh. 14 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. For a while.
And Jeanette, how do you and Veronica meet? How do you all work together?
So I'm her buyer's agent, and we were both in our former broker, Kelly Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And then she needed someone, and obviously I needed a mentorship. So that is how we started to work together. We've been together ever since.
Yeah.
That's all?
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
It's been over a year now, almost 2 years since we've been working together. Yeah. But I'm originally from New York. I'm from the South Bronx.
Okay.
Really?
Yes.
I haven't heard the accent come out yet.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
we just got to get you.
We're going to be professional. It might come out later on.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, V, I want to get, let's backtrack a little bit. But so I met you, let's say I was already out of high school. So probably around 2006-ish, I think, is when I met you. And at that time, I was doing personal training.
Yeah.
And here, walks, and we were assigned clients, and I get assigned Veronica Warwick. And, day one, lady comes in and, "Hey, I'm Veronica. Nice to meet you." And hit it off from the get-go. And, obviously we've remained friends over the years, and, just been one, it was really cool to work with Veronica, as her personal trainer. And then I get her in shape, get her looking,
I heard
great.
different, but okay.
And then she also, then like 2 months later, she's like, "Hey, I'm a personal trainer now." And she got certified, and she went through it all and all that stuff. But that's a quality that I've always liked about you, V. It's not that you're necessarily, bouncing around or anything like that, but you like something, you dive into it, you learn about it, and then you do it. Is that something that you've always
I'm like,
done?
I want to try that.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Not knowing any better.
Yeah.
I mean, for the sake of like, that looks cool. I want to learn that. I want to try that. Let's do it, right?
Yeah.
So after I stopped working at the gym, I decided to dabble in photography. I used to take pictures of his sister all the time too. So yeah, so I have a photography studio in my house.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know where those are. I'm gonna bring them on next time.
So it was when Carla used to be experimenting with makeup. She used to do her eyes real bold, and I'm like, so yeah. So I did that for a little bit. And
Ruben never made the cut for the photography.
yeah, no.
Why is that? I mean,
I don't know. When I left the gym, we just kind of. I mean, we still knew each other.
Yeah.
But I'm like the big sister he never wanted.
I was figuring because he just didn't make the handsome level, like, got to be above 7 and just kind of plateaued there.
Yeah. And there were times where like he would say something to me like, "Is he being serious? Is he kidding?" Like I wasn't real sure, so I'd ask Carla. She's like, "He's just kidding, V." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, it took a while for the humor and stuff like that. But yeah, you've always had that quality, the entrepreneurial spirit, right? So before you started property management, what were you doing then? And then did you start, you left property management, you went into your real estate school, but photography, personal training. Are there other businesses that you started or gotten into?
No. So when we moved here and I realized I didn't want to do property management, I actually worked for a software development company.
A development?
Software development.
Oh, software.
Yeah. And it was the software we used to use in property management.
Who was it?
RentRoll at the time.
Oh, I remember RentRoll.
They changed their names now. They're not RentRoll. They're RealPage now.
RealPage, yeah.
So I worked for them for a couple of years. I used to work in quality assurance. Developers would send us the software. We'd go in and try to break it, find all the bugs, send it back to development, fix, So, and I knew the software in and out because I was using it at the properties. So I worked for them for a while, and then I get an email from my husband one day. It was my birthday month, and he says, "Hey, you need to go enroll in real estate school." So it was a picture of the school logo saying, "Go schedule your classes. I just bought real estate school for you." So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to be a realtor.
And that was here in
here.
Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I left RentRoll and went to get my license.
Yeah, that's cool. And I know her husband, Jamie, and he's not he served right in the military. So I'm assuming that some of the stuff you did, he'd be deployed. So
right after I got my real estate license, which was in December 2014, he deployed in 2015, a couple months later.
Yeah.
And the house was still packed. We had just moved in, and off he goes. So for the first year in my career, I was doing it solo. The girls were still in school, and so trying to manage the house, the girls, my business. So it was a little bit of a challenge. But.
Yeah, with you having to deal with Veronica on a day-to-day. That says a lot about you. No, I'm joking. How long have you been in Dallas?
7 years now.
7 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What brought you over here?
My husband was an NYPD, straight out of college. That's where we met.
Mm-hmm.
And my oldest was young, and we were just finding a way to just settle down and get out of all the crazy.
Yeah.
So we joined a Facebook group, and we were like, okay, where can you relocate? So we went to Facebook groups, and we went to different departments, and we kind of traveled, and we did a shadowing, and then we really loved Dallas.
Yeah.
So we traveled a few times to see, okay, are we really going to pull the plug? And then I announced it to my family. They thought I wasn't serious. A month later, there goes the U-Haul truck, and they're like, oh my God, she's so serious. So it's just been us for the last 7 years out here.
Yeah. No family over here, just y'all.
Just us. So he joined Garland, and then he was with them for about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got pregnant. So then that was like, life event. We're like, okay, we have no one. You're in this crazy field. I'm working. Like, we got to pivot. So then he left the Garland, and then is now a regional manager for Amazon. So he oversees the central region, and then he also does private investigation. And then with that, I was able to get my license. I've always been interested in real estate. And then I joined KW, and then I am with Veronica.
Yeah.
So does your husband unofficially share all of the tea from the PI work?
I hear everything.
Yeah.
So I was telling her the other day, because he does private investigation for insurance fraud and stuff like
fraud
that.
and stuff.
And I'm like, we should do private investigation. We can go check on like cheating husbands, and they'll never know. We're investigators, right?
That's funny. You girls are with Keller Williams, right? No?
No,
Okay.
we made a change in December of last year.
Okay. Who are you with now, or is it
We're with Regal Realtors.
Regal Realtors? Okay, got it. I'm curious. In the real estate space, how much emphasis is put on developing a realtor skill? I understand that in the real estate space it's competitive. We have ups and downs. We'll talk about what's going on right now, right? But is there a lot of emphasis put in your continuing education, leadership skills? What does that look
100%.
like?
I mean, to stay licensed, every 2 years we have to take 100. They moved it up. I think it's like 180 hours to keep our license active. But it's a continual education. Always. We went to a class yesterday that was kind of mind-blowing for me. She was invited, and she's like, you should come with me.
Yeah.
And I did, and I'm really glad I did, because we really learned some things that are going to help us to help our investor clients, so to speak.
Right.
This is more of a DSCR loans, and this lender showed us some things and gave us some information that I've never knew before. And so it makes me want to rethink, how we fulfill our clients' needs based on what they're trying to do, right? So what's the right program for you? What programs do we have in our back pocket that we can share with you that you can learn and be able to buy that home you didn't think you could buy? So, or become an investor and build wealth that you didn't think you could do that.
Right.
So with the ever-changing real estate market, like you were saying, is how important is that, just staying up to date with what's new, what's changed, what's out there now?
I mean, every day with real estate, you're competing now with AI.
Yeah.
The homeowners can go on ChatGPT, and then they'll get, an answer. So it's an industry where you constantly have to add value to your clients because you're competing with the information that's out there. And that's not always relevant. So we make it our mission to get relevant information every day to make sure that we're always top of mind to add that value, to say, oh, this program doesn't work, but I have somebody, or here's an alternative, or let's pivot here for a second, because I don't ever want a client to feel the word no.
Yeah.
It may not be right now, but there is a solution. Let's work towards that solution to get you to your end goal.
Right.
So not only is that education vital to obviously continue your license and keep that active and everything else, but it's vital to be able to continue to help your clients, right?
100%. I think 90% of our job is helping to educate them on the process. So, I'm a veteran spouse, so I have a lot of veteran clients. And I was blown away at how many veteran clients don't know that they have to pay closing costs, because they get to pay zero. I mean, they get to come in with zero down, right? Like, oh, yeah, I don't have to pay any money. I'm zero down. Yes, you are totally correct. But you have closing costs.
Yeah.
They're like, what? No. I'm like, yes, you do. So it's really educating them on the process. Whatever, if you're a first-time home buyer, I mean, if you're looking for a retirement home, or like I said, build wealth, like we have to know how to direct them, so to speak, right? And we learn, mirror and matching. We want to make sure that we are. Do you need hand holding? Great, we've got it. Here's a hand. Do you just want it? You're an engineer, like you just want numbers. We're okay, we'll do that. So, and Jeanette's super great at that. The numbers, man, she whips them out.
Yeah.
Like she's really suited for someone that's an engineer because she could just pull out the data that they need and they're looking for.
I didn't realize how much realtors, how much time and also funds, right, go into selling a home. I thought that all these open houses, and I may be wrong, but I thought that open houses were, anything you spent there was provided by the Keller Williams or Regal, whoever it is, right? But I didn't realize that how much of that is actually coming out of, the realtor's pocket.
Yeah.
So that kind of opened my eyes, and maybe some people, viewers, don't know, or someone getting into that wants to be a realtor. What does that actually look like? From expenses and what you're actually putting out, and what it takes to finally get to the closing table, close a deal, and then recoup some of those funds.
So that's a great question. So I'm a mentor with Regal. I just got assigned a mentee, and when I was chatting with her, she's young. And I said, okay, do you want me to be open and honest with you? Do you want me to hold you accountable? Do you want to learn the things that I've learned on my way? And she said, yes. I said, okay, we're in a pay-to-play industry, right? She didn't understand that. I said, well, let me ask you a question. Did you pay for real estate school? She said, yes. Did you pay to get your license? Texas Association of Realtors, National Association of Realtors, all of the associations we have to be a part of. And she said, yes. I said, now, you just got your license because you paid for those to happen, right? For that to happen. How are you going to recoup that? Right? So you got to have signs. You got to have lock boxes. You got to pay, be part of a brokerage. So we're in a pay-to-play industry. And unfortunately, you have to pay before you ever get to play. So once you've paid, now it's hustle time because you want to get your money back and then some, right?
Yeah.
Do we get paid by the hour? No. We're sitting at these open houses hoping someone comes in because we don't care if it's someone that's unrepresented, someone that's represented. We just want to get the home sold for our seller. That's the end goal, right? So we sit there and hold it open so that people can come in and browse. There are times where we've been open houses where no one shows up. Yeah. We spent, 2 hours and that's okay. We pay for marketing materials to have at the open house and take with them. We, our signs, social media, all that, And so I was told once, you have to have at least 2 years of revenue in the bank to be a realtor.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's crazy. Well, in today's market, almost true.
Yeah.
Because your phone's not ringing, then you got to be out there hustling. If it's networking, if it's cold calling, it's calling friends and family, you got to find the business. So, because the business is not going to come to you. And that's what I asked her. I said, where's your business going to come from? And a lot of new realtors think that the brokerage is going to give them business. Some do, not all of them.
Right.
But there's a cost even with that.
Yeah, of course. Well, you got to close them and all that stuff.
Anything can happen. At the closing table, you're ready to sign on the dotted line and something goes awry and you're not closing today.
Yeah.
So,
So with constant, there's lots of competition out there and obviously, new people getting into the industry. Has there been some crazy things that you've had to do or pay for to get a home sold? Or is it usually same thing every time, open house, few marketing materials, or is it?
Well, I just had a closing last month with one of my lender partners, and she and I, because the buyers, he was my buyer. He's like, I don't have the money to pay for that. So she and I split it. So we paid for the new survey and we paid for the home warranty for the first year because the seller wouldn't do it. And we wanted to make sure he had a home warranty. So we split that she and I did. There are times where you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not transactional. Okay. For us, it's about relationship, building that relationship. And it's not just from contract to close, it's even thereafter. We want to build that relationship, that friendship, let them know that we want to be a resource for them, whatever it might be. And then they'll see that we truly do care and refer us business or use it again, down the road. So.
Yeah.
course. So nobody's ever been like, hey, I need a bounce house and a jacuzzi to be able to get this done.
No, but I have sent one of my clients to Cabo for vacation for a honeymoon.
No way.
Oh, really? That's good to know. Man, also, I wish I would
he's
have
a
known
Keller
that.
firefighter. Well, he was a Keller firefighter, and him and his new wife are going through a large custody battle. And I mean, then you get to go on a honeymoon, and I'm like, you know what? I want to send you guys on a honeymoon. So
You didn't send me on a honeymoon.
You're in the market. You're in the market. You're involved.
you didn't need me to send you on a honeymoon.
Man, what's been the? Have you ever? Has that ever happened to you where you're at the closing table and someone like backs out right
It has.
right at the
Yeah.
last minute?
So there are transactions that are contingent. So you have a seller who's buying a home, and then the seller decides to accept a contingent offer. The buyer has to sell their home before they can buy their seller's home. So everything's great. The buyer for the buyer's home, if this is not too confusing, their financing fell through. So the buyer for the seller's home didn't get to sell their house. Therefore, they couldn't buy the seller's house.
Yeah.
It was just kind of trickle-down effect. And at
Right.
the end, we're like, oh, yeah, this is not happening today.
Does stuff like that happen often, or is it like far
Not
few
too
in
often,
between?
but it happens.
Yeah.
You know, I had one a couple years ago where I had the listing, the buyer came in, young couple, and they sent their funds to what they thought was a title company, and it was a wire fraud scam.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So they didn't have the monies for the closing.
Yeah.
To buy my seller's house. And so their parents went in and helped them make it happen. We postponed it a few days because the parent says, hey, we'll get the money, we'll get it. But stuff happens. I always tell these young agents, don't count your money before it gets to the bank.
Right.
Because they'll
Yeah.
do that. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm good. I have this closing. I'm going to make this much money. I knew a young agent. She
They
made
spend
rookie
it
of the
before they
year.
earn it.
She made rookie of the year. She did amazing in her first year in real estate. She went out and bought a brand new car. I'm like, oh my gosh. You know, it's just okay. You know, you got other
We
expenses.
heard a story too where on closing day, the seller had actually passed
No.
an
Oh.
hour before his signing, and they couldn't sell. They couldn't close the deal because the seller had passed. And now that opens up another.
So what happens there? Is there? I mean, obviously, if there was a power of attorney, they have to sign that before.
Right.
I mean, so how does that deal get made, or does it just evaporate?
So the wife is still living.
Mm.
So they had to have a will, and then a will has to go through probate. So it delays. Obviously, they're going to get this. The buyer wanted the house, obviously, right? So, but it delays it, and probate can take months.
Yeah.
So it's just that's why, you know, she and I talk about we want to be there for our clients, whatever that looks like for them, right? We're not that transactional type of company. You know, you're priority to us, and whatever those needs look like for you, we want to make sure we help you with those.
Yeah.
So,
I think the biggest too that separates us, which minimizes a lot of those things happening, is because we really are not afraid to have those tough conversations and set realistic expectations. And sometimes that's what we do see happening because you have agents that want to close the deal. And I understand, we all do. However, if you don't set that expectation with your buyer and your seller and really go through the numbers and set the emotional roller coaster that we're all going to be in for the next 30 to 60 days, when those things happen, they'll be more understanding and say, okay, we were prepared for this.
Right.
It's always good to prepare for worst case scenario and then have the best outcome than do the opposite.
Yeah.
So we do like a calendar, we timestamp everything. We have follow-up calls, messages. Hey, remember, we are approaching this deadline. Are you prepared? If not, we are communicating on with the other side because there is another side to communicate with.
Right.
So having that dialogue at all times and setting that, Veronica's always say, I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Yeah.
And people are like, okay, I'm listening now.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be transparent because we want the best for you.
Right.
and I always ask permission. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
You
She
know?
does.
I'm like, I guess we have to be, but you know, so.
It perks the ear.
Yeah.
What agent is saying, do I have your permission to be transparent right now?
Right.
And it's like, okay, I'm listening. Okay.
Yeah. You've never asked me for my permission, but that's fine. Whatever.
She does it anyway. So it's excited, yeah.
It's this is this. Okay, B.
I might call your dad.
Ooh, time out.
So on that, right, I think, market changes, things like that. There's a lot of first-time home buyers out there, right? And I think a lot of people have an understanding or a misunderstanding of what that process looks like of buying a home. And it sounds like y'all have perfected that process and made sure that your clients feel comfortable with each step of that process. What are some of the misconceptions that go into, okay, first time home buyer, they think they're coming to you and they're going to buy a home. They're like, okay, let's go look at houses. And you're like, whoa, hold on. There's a few things that we need to go through first. What does that process look like?
Getting that pre-approval.
Okay.
Truthfully, know what your maximum budget is, because you can get an approval for $600,000. You start looking at houses, but if that surpasses your monthly budget, we shouldn't be looking at $600,000 houses.
Yeah.
And that's always going to be the first step, is to understand your finances. We personally like to do a buyer's net sheet when they go into it, just to understand what are you comfortable, paying every single month. Because it's not just the mortgage. We're talking about insurance. We're talking about property taxes. We're talking about HOA fees, MUDs and PIDs. If you have a child that's about to go to college, that's something we got to factor in. So it's just those little details that we have with our clients to say, are you comfortable in this budget? And if you are, great, let's get going. And if it's not, let's have a different conversation. And knowing there's upfront fees, like your inspection fee, you have to pay for that upfront. You have an appraisal fee that you have to pay upfront. Then there's the fee for your down payment on the loan. And then there's your closing costs to secure that, the title, all the stuff that goes into that. So that is what I feel like is a misconception, that buyers don't fully understand the process, which is why they start to get cold feet.
Yeah.
I'll have a buyer say, we want to go look at houses. Have you spoken to a lender? No, not yet. But we really like this house. We want to see it. So what I explain to them is, I can take you to see this house and you can fall in love with it. And then we get your pre-approval and it doesn't meet the list price of what the seller's trying to get for the home. So next home we go into, you're going to say to me, oh, but the first house had this. And so you'll never forget the first house you fell in love with. And I don't want to set you up for disappointment.
Right.
So let's be sure that we know what budget we're working with before we start house hunting.
Yeah.
So.
And also when you prepare to submit that offer, if you have another agent that has a buyer that's already pre-approved and is submitting that document to that listing agent, now we have to wait to get that pre-approval. And time is of the essence with these transactions. Every second counts. So if we don't get that, we're going to miss out just because we didn't do our due diligence and get that pre-approval in the beginning.
Yeah.
So with this new market, obviously lots changed over the last few years. Are y'all seeing that the highest offer is always winning? Or is it?
No, it's highest and best. So whenever a home goes into multiple offers, the agent calls for highest and best. Highest doesn't always mean best. They could be giving you, $50,000 over the list price, but yet they want back, $20,000 in concession. It's just, it weighs it out. I have one right now that, so the house is listed at $2,999, and they really want the house, right? And so he says to me, we're going to come up with a strong offer. I'm like, great. He tells me $280. I'm like, oh, you mean strong for you, not for the seller, right? In addition, they need closing costs, and they need closing costs because they're a first-time home buyer in Texas. They've owned before somewhere else. And the seller came back and said, $295 and no concession. I'm like, oh, these sellers, they're ready to, So I went back to my buyer. He's like, well, we got to think about it. He drove by the house yesterday. There was an agent showing that house to one of her clients. He called me and goes, there was an agent there. And I said, okay. What if they offer $300,000? They go, what if they offer $300,000? But the seller's not going to take it, right? Because we're trying to work a deal. I said, oh, no, all day long. They want $2,999 for that house. You said you were going to come in with a strong offer. I thought you meant strong for this seller.
Right.
Because that's what they're looking for. Right? So.
Yeah, I remember, so Veronica worked with me and we worked together for the house that I live in now. And, this was when the market was, we can say, was very hot, right? And I remember pulling up to homes, literally lines out the houses. It was crazy. I'd never seen anything like that. But, we were having to get pretty creative with offers and very competitive. That was, about 3-4 years ago. The landscape has completely changed. How has that been? What is there a light at the end of the tunnel type thing? Obviously interest rates are changing. We understand it from the multifamily side, right? But what is it looking like for the single family residential?
I think, we always say those that want to buy a house or have to buy a house are going to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
But you still have the ones that are on the fence because of the rates, like you said.
Right.
I mean, rates changed again today. They're changing every day. Like I was telling you, Nick, they're 6.3, but that's better than 8% that we had last month, You just have to really, really weigh, is this a time for me?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to be able to make this happen for myself based on my debt to income or what other bills I have to worry about? People are so afraid, especially with the state of the United States right now, what's happening around us and, the war and all that stuff. And people are considering that. Gas prices are going up. Food's going up. So I was watching this morning a video. Someone was talking about, what are we going to do the next year? Is it going to change for us? Or when do we see the market taking a real shift? Someone said not until 2028.
Right.
So, okay, well, what does that mean? I foresee a lot of agents getting out of the business. I personally won't get out of the business. I love what I do. Right. And she and I do a lot of networking. And so, we're putting our heads together going, what else can we do? How do we help people? We just need to get out there and let people know that we're here for them to help them through this process, no matter what the world looks like right now. If that's your goal, we'll make it happen for you.
Right.
So Craig called me this morning. I hadn't told her yet. He has a very high DTI. Can't qualify right now. But he wants to sell his home in Josephine. And he says, his wife's already packing. And I said to him, we already been through the lender. The lender said, absolutely not. Unfortunately, his credit's not that great. And he's got a high DTI. So I said, Craig, let me do this. Let me run some numbers, see what we could possibly sell your home for. And if we can use the equity from your home to buy this next home, let's see if that can work for you. But let me do my reports. He owes $281,000 on his house. At best, and I said, Craig, I'll be straight up, at best, if we listed your house, we would list it at $325 at best. That's not to say we're going to get that.
Yeah.
I said, that only leaves you about $40,000 in equity. I mean, that's not enough. He said, I paid $325 for this home. I'm not going to sell it for what I paid for it. And I said, I totally understand that. I get it. I said, now's not the time. Let's give it another year. Put it on the back burner. I know you're trying to get out of Josephine. He wants to live closer to the city now. He's been in the country a while and he's ready to get out of there. But I said, it's just not the right time. I'm not going to lie to you and say, let me put the sign in the yard and just pray that we can get it sold. That's not what we do.
Yeah.
So he understood. And I said, we'll keep checking in. Maybe things will change in the next 3 to 6 months. We'll keep checking in, so.
So, yeah, I mean, it does sound like, a big portion of your profession is managing buyers' expectations and guiding them through
buyers and sellers. Yeah.
Gotcha. And what it actually takes.
Yeah.
Right? One of my, obviously, yes, we understand economic landscape, all that stuff, but, I've heard it often, it's becoming and it's going to become harder and harder for the younger generation to be able to buy that, first house. Are you seeing less and less of that? Is that true to an extent?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, my youngest daughter, right? I was just telling Nick. She and her husband had moved to Grand Rapids. His family's from there. And they bought a home. And they recently sold their home. It was hard for them. They were a young couple, right?
Yeah.
But fortunately for them, both my daughter's grandmother passed away and his grandmother passed away. And they took that money because they got money from their grandparents. And they used that. Had it not been for that, they wouldn't have been able to afford to buy a home.
Yeah.
But they recently sold their home and moved to the Netherlands.
What?
Yes. Giovanna's living in the Netherlands.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I want to go. When are you going?
I don't know yet. We talked about it, but they still are trying to find housing. She said housing there is scarce.
Mhm.
A lot of Americans live there.
Mhm.
And so they're going to be going into Germany to see what the housing situation looks like in Germany.
What?
No way.
Because of the state of the United
Well,
States. She
Are
said,
are you able to help her like buy a house over there? Or no.
no.
Yeah, I know you're a realtor in Mexico, right?
Right.
In
Yep.
Cabo
Yes.
and Cancun.
Yeah. No, not Cancun.
No? Oh.
Cabo. But I have an agent that can connect you with. in
Gotcha.
Cancun.
I see.
Is that process quite a bit different?
Yes, it is. It used to be 30 years ago. My husband and I have been searching where we're going to retire in Mexico. And 30 years ago, you couldn't actually own a home in Mexico. You could lease it back from the government. And if you passed, the government took the home back. They've changed that. So now you can actually, as an American, you can actually own home in Mexico. So you have to pay what's called a fideicomiso. And there's an American lending company in Cabo that does all of our lending for us.
Yeah.
So the home has to go in a trust. It can't go in your name, Ruben Ortiz. It would have to be the trust of, Ortiz Family Trust or what have you. But yeah, lots and lots of Americans and Canadians are moving to Cabo.
Are you getting a lot of inquiries? Are you doing a lot of transactions?
A lot.
over there?
So I have a CRM that sends me people that are looking, and so I'm calling them every day to see what the challenge with moving or finding someone to buy a home in Cabo. It's a second home for them generally, so there's no sense of urgency. They're not looking to move next month like most buyers here. Like they say, "Hey, we're ready to go buy a house," and Jeanette goes and shows my house.
Yeah,
they're looking to buy a house and close in the next 30 to 60 days. There, it could be a year or two.
They just want the perfect house.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Well, that must be tough having to go to work all the way down in Cabo.
It's amazing.
it's
amazing.
It feels like every other week when I call V, like, "Hey V, can we go look at this house? I'm in Cabo."
I
Showing a
leave
house,
at the end of April and I'll come back to the end of May. So.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That must be a blast.
It is. And I've made such amazing connections and friendships. Like there's a little sports bar I go to after church. Because we go to Cabo Church, and after church we go there and have brunch. And the girls that own it are from Houston, and they moved to Cabo, opened this little bar and grill, and so we go there and everybody's, "Hey Veronica, how are you? Oh, you're back. Haven't seen you in a while." We've gotten to know a lot of people, and it's just been amazing.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, why Cabo? What's the sales pitch to Cabo of all the amazing places to go in Mexico?
Well, the weather, number one,
is
incredible. Right? It's closest to California as I can get. I told you originally I'm from California, and we can never go back and live there because home prices there are just craziness. So it's just beautiful. It's beautiful. It's relaxing. No one's in a hurry. Everybody's on Mexico time. It's like, so it's just, I love it.
You're from California, but moved to Houston, right? First.
No, my parents lived in Houston.
Okay.
So.
And Jamie, your husband, is from California.
He's from Northern California, and I'm from Southern California.
Okay.
So.
Got it. Well, when it comes to back to real estate, do you ever partner up with wholesale sellers, or is that like a big no-no? Are you guys like,
again, we just kind of try to keep our
like,
options open depending on the situation for the seller or the buyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in answer your question, yes. We've met a few wholesalers that we've actually sat down with and gone over.
Gotten to know and say, "Hey, I'm at a listing appointment. What we're trying to do doesn't work on market. Is there something you can do off market and run your numbers?" So that's also what separates us. We go to listing appointment and we do give you two options. This is the on market route. This is what we'll do for you. If you want an off market option, this is what we can also do, but the numbers have to make sense for them.
Yeah.
And
Has
that
gotten more popular?
I don't think a lot of agents
Are using that strategy.
Yeah, because I think they don't know enough about it. Whereas when we sit down with these guys to learn what that looks like, in the back of our head, like, okay, well, now we have another option we can offer our sellers, right? So I have one coming on the market in Garland, and it happens to be a friend of ours. And she wants me to list it, and I'm gonna. However, I'm gonna reach out to my wholesaler and say, hey, I need you to go look at this house and tell me what it would be, so I could give her that option. So I've always wanted to dabble in fix and flips. You know, my husband's not as brave as me. Like, he doesn't have that entrepreneurial spirit. And I'm like, oh my God, look at this house. We could buy it. We could rent it out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yesterday we went to this class and they help investors buy home based on the cash flow of the home, right? And our conventional lender said, oh, if you buy an investment home, it's 9% interest. They're like, no, it's 6.25. I'm like, wait, what? We can do this? So I went home and presented it to my husband, and I said, hey, we can buy that investment home at a lower interest rate based on the cash flow. Let me run some numbers. Let me run some reports, you know?
And it was a simple switch of going from conventional to a DSCR loan.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it was just that simple switch. Now became like, oh my God, now I'm excited because I have that 6% versus that 9%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, you underwrite it. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy the home, lower interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to hold it for a certain amount of time?
You cannot pay it off before 5 years. We have an option to choose 3 or 5 years.
Okay.
You can't pay off the loan before, at the longest, 5 years.
Right.
Which, why would you if you're going to have it as an investment?
Sure. And
Right.
if it's cash flowing.
Right.
But-
I have a client right now who, he says, Veronica, I think I might sell my house. Or I'm sorry, I think I'm going to move out of state. My job's going to be out of state, but I might keep my house. He said, you think it's a good idea? I said, if you can keep that house, I'm a huge proponent of that. Yes, do that. Build wealth. I'm not that agent who's going, no, you should sell it. You make this much in equity. You guys,
Right.
He does have a lot of equity. I'm like, no, please do. I'm a huge proponent of that, especially with the young people. I have a young guy Robert, that just bought a house, 24 years old. It took us some time to get there, but he's 24 years old.
Yeah.
When we were first looking at houses, he was looking at duplexes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's smart. He would live in one and he'd rent the other one out. I said, not a lot of young people are doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, learn how to build wealth at a young age, you know? So.
Yeah. Do you feel that, okay, so clear, you know, obviously I think you've always had that mindset, but real estate and getting involved in real estate, has that opened your eyes or mind to that a little bit more and how attainable it is?
Yes. I mean, now that we're in the thick of it and now that we have sources that we can go and look for things, yeah, it truly is. You just have to know the tools that are available to you to make it happen.
You mentioned AI, right? And how buyers, sellers, they're leveraging that to get information. How is that? How are you all using that? Or are you incorporating AI to help you on your end?
I would say yes. And going back to mirroring your client, one of the biggest way is they're going to go on Zillow, they're going to go on Redfin, they're going to look at those search engines. So I'm not using AI to be the next search engine. They're already doing that. I don't need to do that. I'm trying to figure out, how do I take these properties, create a net sheet that makes sense for them long term? So one of the biggest things that Regal has taught us is the disc profile for your client. It's understanding who's on the other side that you're speaking to. Are they more of the hand holding?
Right.
Are they in the engineer where they need more numbers and then they can figure it out on their own? Are they more dominant? Are they more influential?
Right.
So using that to go in and take our transcript whenever we do have a conversation and we would go, hey, review this transcript. What are some things I missed? What are some things I did great in? And how do I continue the engagement? Yeah. So that's something that's really has changed how we create, that pipeline for our clients.
Have you seen a difference in?
Absolutely. Like I had a lead come in and it was, I texted her because I was like, literally like, oh my God, my heart is in my ass. And she was like, what's wrong with, is something going on with Liam? And I said,
her son's been sick.
So my son was sick.
Yeah.
So I was like, and it was like 5 and 6 in the afternoon. And, she's like, oh my God, is Bobby okay?
Yeah.
And I said, no, girl, I got this $1 million buyer. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have to show up differently. I have to think differently. So I went and I previewed all the homes. And then I ran all my numbers in that specific subdivision, the absorption rate, the resale rate, the rental rates, like the history with the the subdivision. So I went and I interviewed other agents. I also went above and beyond and I said, okay, yours is on for lease, but if there's an offer on the table, would your seller consider selling?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bring us an offer. And the client came in. She was a C client, so she's very engineer. She's a corporate HPAI.
So you're actually running disc
Yeah.
profiles on your clients?
Yeah.
But they have to fill it out, right?
No,
So
no,
you're
no, no.
sending it to them, or?
No, so I use it in a way, if I get a call, I make sure that I use my CRM because my CRM is recording our phone call.
Mhm.
Once that phone call is finished, we have an AI prompt that would give us the feedback, or we set it up. Okay, I'm about to jump on this call with this client. This is what the information I was able to pull, and this is our conversation. Please review it and give me the feedback and where I can pivot differently. Or what is it that I didn't ask, or what did I do really great? And use the disc profile. So then it would go and tell us, like, you did great here, you need an opportunity there, you need to slow down here,
Interesting.
you didn't
Okay.
understand this question, or, to re-engage that client, or, get them to buy or get that hook out there. This is how you're going to re-engage them.
So it'd be like,
Gotcha.
Cool.
I think the answer they were looking for was this, and you said this. I'm like, you're right. So it helps us to think
Right.
beyond just the conversation that we're having with them and be more in their head, if you will. I mean,
Right, get into
More
a little bit more
of
of the
a-
psychology
yeah, like-
aspect of it.
Right. So
Mhm.
instead of if a client comes in, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square
Yep.
feet in Dallas. Okay, yeah, let me put you on an MLS search. We've kind of started to pivot because I'm like, they're going to go on Zillow. They're going to go on Redfin. They're going to do their own due diligence.
Yep. Yep.
I'm going to set you up differently. I'm going to look at off markets. I'm going to look at for sale by owners. I'm looking into expires. I'm looking to absentee owners, because what's on the MLS is something that the client can see on their own.
mhm.
Which made me think, and obviously the real estate world is so large, right? Especially, on the agent side of everybody's doing something differently, but you truly are, entrepreneur, or, some call it a entrepreneur, where you're working with a group entirely, but you also are working somewhat in a silo, right? And how often are you not getting that feedback of, hey, how can I improve? Or where did I miss the mark?
Right.
And now with tools like, AI or certain CRMs, they're allowing us to be able to make those leaps,
Mhm.
Further ahead. But outside of that, what are some of the ways that you guys have seen, obviously outside of the education and the training programs and things like that, that are helping your team improve?
I think just really listening. Really listening to the conversations around us.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we can hear other agents or other people that are in other industries talking about a certain topic or something that they encountered. I'm like, oh, I want to know more.
Yeah.
So it's just really being in tune with what's going on around us.
Yeah.
For sure. So
Yeah, it's it gets in tune, and then obviously networking.
mhm.
Picking
Yeah.
people's brains, ideas. How accurate is Zillow?
Oh.
And how often are people coming to you and saying, hey, you're telling me my, house is this, but Zillow's telling me this, so why can't we offer this? Like, is it?
It's gotten better.
Okay.
I would say the data in Zillow has gotten better. However, Zillow takes like two extreme datas,
Mhm.
and it takes an average of, what's the word I'm looking for? Of like the homes. Not every home in that same subdivision is the exact same.
Mhm.
And that's something people don't understand. Well, my neighbor got X amount of dollars. Why can't I get X amount of dollars?
Right.
So it's like, well, what upgrades have you done? They did things to add value. So something, even our listing appointments, we're like, okay, your neighbor, because all they see is the list price. We see the sold price, right?
Yeah.
So it could have been listed for $380, but then they actually sold it for $360. But because Texas is a non-disclosure state, that's not something that's advertised.
Right.
Or they offered at the list price, but then got a concession. It still ended at $360.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
that's information that it's not open to the public, that we go in and we discuss it. But then we like to take it a step further and say, okay, great. We booked the showing to walk your competition, essentially.
Yes.
And then we go in there and then they go back and they're like, okay, so now we say, take your seller hat off.
Yeah.
Now be the buyer
Right.
and go and, compare the two houses that were your house versus this one. And then
House
just
that
also,
you haven't done anything to in 30 years.
correct.
Okay, so as an example,
Mhm.
your house in Fate,
Mhm.
the lady that owns the house behind it, she said, I know that they bought that house for X amount of dollars. I said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because Zillow says, has the list price and it says sold. That's all you get to see. Oh, it's sold for that price.
Mhm.
No, it absolutely did not.
Yeah.
You know, so they don't get to see the behind what it actually sold for. So I said, I'll tell people, let me look it up. Let me see what they actually, I said, aside from them getting $10,000 off the price of the home, they also got an additional $15,000 concession. So technically, this is what they sold the home for.
Yeah.
Right? Or they'll say, my neighbor's house sold for this much. I said, have you seen your neighbor's house? We're not comparing apples to apples. I mean, it's a completely renovated home. Yours is 1980 for micro countertops and,
Right.
you know, laminate floor.
Yeah.
So we have to show them, take them by the hand and go, look.
Yeah.
Right?
So what are some of those, speaking of that, what are some of the things that a seller can do to maximize some of that value or that sale price when they go to market?
Landscaping and garages.
Okay.
Landscaping in garages?
That's been
Yeah,
a
'cause-
huge add-on value.
Really?
Yes.
So the common stuff is, right, kitchen, master bath or bathrooms, but landscaping in garages.
In garages as in
Like the garage door, making
door?
new
Yeah.
doors.
repaint?
Repaint and some paint in the house too, especially if your walls are dark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lighting.
Because that will turn a female buyer off. Like,
Yeah.
oh, the walls are so dark. If you know you're going to sell your house, paint it a neutral color.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that way it's
Like
not
brown.
something neutral, you know, off white. The new white is, you know, agreeable gray.
Yeah.
So
No.
I know.
That
Cream color.
And so I was joking. I don't think I would paint my house brown, but on the inside at least. But agreeable gray, we used that a lot in multifamily for a long time. It was like Keeling beige for several years. That was like a taupey, like khaki color, and then agreeable gray, and then it's shifting now to like a very light, not white, but you know, light gray, off whitish color, just to brighten it up.
So when I was in multifamily in California, our painter would take white paint and add a few drops of black so that it wasn't completely gray, but it wasn't completely white. And it looks so great. I'm like, oh, that's a really great trick. So
Yeah, those colors that are just a tiny bit different.
Yeah.
But again, I'm sure it helps the new buyer go into there. Same with multifamily, right? Is we want to make sure that when they go into a room, they can start to visualize their furniture,
Themselves.
100%.
Yep.
Right.
Because how often are people, especially, you know, if you are buying a new home, maybe you're not bringing all the same furniture, but some of that same
Right.
furniture does need to go into the new home and be able to fit the bill, right?
Yeah.
So outside of garages and landscaping, what are some of the things that people invest in, you know, when they are trying to sell a home and it doesn't do a darn thing to the value of that home?
I don't want to say it doesn't do a value, but like pools is a big one because the buyer's going to see an expense.
Yeah.
So pools, like they would do this big old pool and they spent $60,000, and I'm like, you're not going to get the $60,000. And they'll try to tag that on
right.
to the sales price, and
Right.
unfortunately, that doesn't add the value you think it does.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if someone's trying to add a pool just because of, hey, I want to raise value, or you know, someone maybe don't do it.
And the other
Or think
challenge we're
before you
having
do.
is every corner you turn, there's a new build community.
Mhm.
And so our pre-owned sellers are having to compete with those new build communities.
Right.
Because, you know, you have deep pockets with D.R. Horton and Pulte and all that, you know, and they're offering crazy rates right now, you know, 3.99 for the life of the loan. You know, some are offering washers and dryers and blinds and, you know, 10,000 back at closing if you use their lender. So it's been challenged. I have a gentleman who I've been talking to for about a year and a half, and he wants to wait until the development across the lake gets finished because he thinks that that's going to bring buyers to his home. I said, well, we're not comparing apples to apples. Someone that's buying a $700,000 house is not looking at a $400,000 house. It's not the same clientele.
You know what's shocking to me, and I won't say who or what, but when some of my friends are buying homes, they'll call me and say, "Hey, would you mind like coming to look at me? I'm new homes, like new construction. Do you mind coming with me to tour the house just to put your eyes on it? They know that I'm in renovation, stuff like that. Cool, absolutely. Or they'll send me photos, right? And it's just shocking to me. And obviously not every builder is the same, right? I'm just saying the times that I've been asked to go check some stuff out, new construction, it just baffles me, the quality for the price tag that's on some of these homes. It's crazy. Hopefully that changes, but with how competitive and how fast they're trying to build some of these homes, I unfortunately don't see it changing, but it was just shocking to me. And the sad thing is some of these people that are either new first time buyers or don't have, I see things because I'm in the space, right? They have no idea. Yeah. And they're getting themselves into some of these homes that unfortunately were poorly built.
Yeah.
And, 2 years, 3 years down the road, they're going to have some pretty severe expenses coming up that
I've seen some things too. And of course, I'm not going to name the builder because we have to work with them. And if our buyer chooses to move that direction, then that's their choice, right? And, unless someone comes back later and say, well, you talked bad about us or whatever. I mean, it's not that. It's ultimately up to the buyer. But anymore, it's so, let's get it out, right? They're just build, get it done. So the quality or the workmanship, I mean, sometimes I'm like, are you kidding me? And I look at, the door frame and the door, like they're not even flush or level with each other. When you shut the door, you can see a gap. And I'm like, what in the world? But it's just overlooking it because they're trying to get them out so quick.
So avoiding some of those mistakes, that pre-property inspection has probably gotten even more and more important.
Yeah, and the challenge, some of the builders are not permitting an individual inspector.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you get to walk with their engineer, do your blue tape walk, what have you, and that's all you get.
Yeah.
So.
That seems crazy that they wouldn't allow anybody else to pre-walk.
Now, there is a builder who did allow us to do it, and we gave them the inspection report, and they weren't willing to fix any of the things the inspector said needed to be taken care of.
So they're willing to maybe miss out on that client to
Well,
just fill it later.
we were already, they've already signed. So with a builder, you lose your earnest money.
Yeah.
You sign, it's not like a resale where you have 7 days of your due diligence. And within those 7 days, you can walk based on your inspection. Builders don't work that way. You don't get your earnest money back. And sometimes earnest money is, $5,000, $7,000, $8,000. That's a lot of money to lose.
Yeah.
And sell max for 20.
For 20,000? Yeah.
I'm not going to name him, but yeah.
Yeah.
One is
as high as 20.
And they'll split it 10 and 10 to make it easy on the client, but it's full 20,000 that you don't get back.
Yeah.
Once you sign, you're locked in.
Man.
And they're the only ones that can truly back out.
Right.
And again, I guess I had another question about, the other side of that is the fix and flip, right? There's a lot of people out there that turn these into investment properties of, fixing the property up and then with the idea of selling it at a higher price and making good on that investment. And I know both of you, speaking off camera before we got started, y'all are big fans of your industry as well. We talked about that in-house, that we love our industry and we always want to bolster our industry up and help each other, right? But with the fix and flip, have you guys seen a lot of that that work that maybe got done too quickly or maybe not to the quality that the new buyer is expecting, and those homes have sat on the market for longer?
I think the homes are sitting on the market because of the market.
Gotcha.
But I'll walk into these fix and flips. I'm like, oh, they all shop at the same place. Because
They all look the same.
Facebook Marketplace.
I mean, the backsplash is the same as the one I saw, a week ago. The countertops are the same, and they all look the same.
Yeah.
These not construction workers, but we call renovation guys are going in, and they're all shopping at the same wholesale market, to get their materials.
Mhm.
But I mean, lately I've not seen any fix and flips where they haven't really done a great job.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. Yeah, I figured I'd ask. But
It's going to be subjective, right? Who you hire, who's your contractor, where you're getting your
Sure.
materials,
Yeah.
the cost. I think people go into it feeling the need to renovate the full home, and sometimes it's not a full gut renovation. Sometimes you can, fresh paint and some fresh door handles can change an entire look.
Right.
Pop out that light fixture.
the bathrooms are important.
Yes, bathrooms.
I mean, you got the seashell sink, from the 80s still,
Yep.
and you renovated the rest of the house. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Bathrooms are important. If you're going to do that, renovate your bathroom.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha. So outside of real estate and you're touring homes, stuff like that, what do you do for fun?
yes. Travel, go to concerts.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm a boring person. All I do is real estate.
That's not
I'm
not
getting ready
boring.
to take her to Cabo with me.
You're deep diving into your
Yeah.
craft. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's making,
Yeah.
you also good at what you do.
We're
So-
gonna go to Anaheim in August. I'm a member of the Tom Ferry coaching program, and so there are conventions in Anaheim this year.
Tom Ferry coaching program, what is that?
So Tom Ferry is a coach. His dad started his coaching program. His name is Mike Ferry, and then Tom took it over. But they provide a lot of tools to help realtors be successful. There's a gentleman that's part of his program called Jason Pantana, and he does AI. And it's like mind-blowing, the stuff that you learn from Jason. I meet with my coach every Tuesday morning, and I'm coaching with him, but I'm coaching to be a coach.
Mhm.
So I'm learning a lot through Tom and his coaching program to make that happen.
So, and you were assigned a mentee,
Mhm.
and but I don't think I'm off by saying you've always also liked to obviously help,
Mhm.
right? Help others. So, with this mentee, so they're assigned to you. You're, I mean, you said he, right?
So she
Is she shadowing you? How do
not
you
yet.
coach
So
them
we
up?
just connected last week, and so once a week I'll check in with her and see how things are going. Now she's going to school to be a nurse,
Okay.
and she says, "Do you think this is doable?" I said, "Well," when are you going to attend classes for real estate if you're going to nursing school, and when are you going to spend time doing real estate? She said, "Well, where do you think I should begin?" I said, "Do you go to school on the weekend?" She said, "No." I said, "Go visit new builds in your area.
Yeah.
Go meet those sales reps. Do home tours." She's young and she doesn't do social. I said, "Start making videos at the new builds,
Yeah.
at the model homes, at the spec homes that have built, and post that. Let everybody know that you're a realtor."
Right.
I told her, I said, "If you want to make this happen for yourself, I'm all for it. Like, I want to help you be successful.
Right.
That's my goal for you, whatever that looks like for you, because knowing you're going to school full time." But she's like, "That's a great idea. I never thought about that." I said, "Create a flyer and say, 'Hi, neighbor. I'm not just your neighbor. I'm also the local realtor in this area.' And introduce yourself. My name, is Rashika. I'm new to the area. She's from Louisiana. She just moved to Florida. And, so I said, there are a lot of little things that are not expensive that you could do to put your name out there. So it's just, I want her to be successful, but I have a feeling that, so I always tell her, look, I might be too much for you. And I tell a lot of people, I might be too much for you, because I'm like, oh my God. So I'm super passionate about this.
Mhm.
Now I'm super passionate about her success. I'm super passionate about whatever success looks like for you.
Mhm.
And I made her fill out an intake sheet because I want to know, like, how do you want me to help you? What is your goal? And there's not even a money goal. I'll ask new agents, why real estate? First thing they said, money. I think it's not. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, well, what do you do with that money? I want to send my kids to college. I want to buy a new car.
Mhm.
That's why real estate,
Mhm.
because that's what real estate can afford you. because that's your why. Now your why could change year to year, but plan for that. Why your real estate this year? Why am I still doing this today? What is my goal?
Yeah.
And whatever that looks like, then let me help you get there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So you beat me to a few things, right? If there's, we'll just say, top 3 or 5 things that an aspiring real estate agent wanting to get into real estate, what top 3 things do you recommend? And one, you've mentioned, figure out your why, right? And I think that's kind of universal for people who are wanting to find whatever success looks for them. What's your why? And then earlier you mentioned aim to have, I think you said 2 years worth of, revenue.
Yeah.
Starting out, and then maybe challenging, right? But, top 3 or up to 5, something.
Right,
along
you
those
should
lines.
have your why, have some revenue in the bank because you got to get ready to spend before you can make it. Unfortunately, and you got to spend money to make money. And have a plan. Like I told her, my advice to you is go to the store, get a notebook that kind of has like different tabs, right? Tab A, B, and C. Tab A, we're going to people that you know without a shadow of a doubt. We're going to use you or refer you business in real estate. B, you still have to help them understand or know that you're a realtor. You want to get them moved into your A section. How do you do that? You're posting on Instagram, you're posting on social, you're calling them, you're checking in, you're sending them what I call pop buys, and I'll tell you what that is in a minute. Your C's are people that, they have a friend or a family member, or they know a realtor, or they know somebody who knows a realtor. You got to take a little more work on them to move them over into your A section, because your A listers will be the ones that are like, yeah, call her. Right? So I said, once you create that database, if you will, and you get set up in our CRM, which is our electronic database, move them over. And as you start plugging in, if you're missing an email address or even their birthday, that's a good reason to call them. Hey, I'm updating my database. I realized I don't have your email address. Or, hey, I don't know your birthday. I want to be sure I send you a birthday card, right? So you plug all that information, but that's an excuse, a good way to get to let them know you're a realtor by making that phone call. You want to make these phone calls.
Stay top of mind.
Right.
For sure.
Stay top of mind. Right. Set them up on the newsletter where they get it automatically each month. So they just have a plan. I asked her, where did you think your business was going to come from? Again, a lot of them think the brokerage is going to hand you business.
Yeah.
When
Gotta hustle.
Right. And we do. We get leads. That doesn't mean that lead's like, we're going to go see a home today, we're going to buy today.
Right. Yeah.
That's nurturing. Okay, we're going to go see this house today. We're going to see 4 more next week. You got to continually nurture them, and it doesn't happen overnight. So have a plan.
Know your avatar is the big one. I think that's the biggest one. Know who your niche client is.
Yeah.
And build your business around that. I think a lot of times we just go into it and you're going to get a lot of noise, and you're going to have your moments where you're going to question everything. We've all been there. You're going to compare yourself to someone who's super successful, but you're seeing their success when you're just starting. It's going to be a lot of that. It's going to feel defeating. My advice would be know who your audience is. Is it a downsizers? And stick to that for 12 months. Is it an investor? Stick to that for 12 months. Is it a first-time home buyer? Is it an upsizer? Who is your client? And then once you figure that out, then figure out where you're going to get that business. Because if it's a downsizers, where do they eat? Are they going to need assisted living? What does that look like? And then you understand your network. That would be my biggest advice for a lot of agents and why they get lost, because they start too many things and they're not consistent, and then it all falls apart. And then the follow-up is more important than the lead generating, because if you don't fill up that pipeline 6 to 12 months out, you're never going to have anything. You're constantly going to have to be looking for
chasing.
that.
Yeah, for sure.
So if they're buying 12 months, hey, make sure that you have that quarterly CRM with those touch points, making sure that you're adding value and giving them, hey, because they might say 12 months from now, and then you find them a good deal 6 months earlier. They might be ready to close. Something might have changed, But because you've stayed top of mind once a month, they're going to be like, okay, I'm going to use you, no question.
Yeah. Those are amazing points of getting started, and, when things are getting tough. It struck me, it was kind of crazy to me that you said 2 years. That's a long time, right? So I'm sure in that, starting out period, but what would you tell an agent that has been struggling, is ready to quit and ready to move on to their next thing, what's that piece of advice? Because I'm sure you've met plenty of agents that have come to you and asked you that same question.
Or you might have gone through that,
Yeah.
right? Where you're ready to hang up the
I'm
gloves
be
and
honest,
towel. But
there's been times where I say, I need to get a job.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
because the market is struggling. You know,
Right.
we're all struggling as realtors.
Mhm.
But you just, I mean, this is what you want to do. You got to keep in there, right?
Right. Yeah.
So right now I'm farming my neighborhood.
Mhm.
I have 300 houses in my neighborhood. And I got tired of seeing other people's signs in yards in my neighborhood. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've got to stop that. So I'm putting together a letter, actually, as we speak. I've got stacks of envelopes everywhere, but it's introducing myself.
Mhm.
And as I said, I'm going to be honest and straight to the point. I'm not just your neighbor. I'm a real estate agent.
Yeah.
If you have any real estate needs, I'd love to be the one to help you, or and say love, because love's not a good word, which I'm supposed to like, because it's not about me, it's about them. So, you know, but I worded it just
Mhm.
so that it's about them.
Mhm.
And I suggested to them, if you want to know what your house might be worth in today's market, here's a QR code.
Yeah.
You know, send me your address. I'll send it to you. You want to grab coffee? There's a really amazing little coffee shop downtown Rowlett.
Mhm.
Let's go have coffee. Call me, text me, email me. Let's go have coffee in La Casita, and you know, we'll talk real estate, or talk about the neighborhood, or talk about, you know, Rowlett itself. Whatever you want, any conversation.
Yeah.
So I want to get to know my neighbors.
Is it La Casita Bake Shop by any chance?
Yes, how'd you know?
It is. Because I don't know if it's the original one or their second location opened up by my old house in Richardson,
Uh-huh.
and it's big and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Their pastries they were just a bake shop
Yes.
only for retail shops,
Mhm.
and then they opened up their
Oh,
restaurant.
this is so little. I think maybe 10 people might fit in there. It's so little.
Oh, that's cool. And
But-
this one's big, and they sell like
Wait, where is it?
it's in Richardson off Beltline and 75. Arapahoe and 75 on the west side.
But their
of 75.
What's the name of
pastries are
La
amazing.
Casita Bake Shop.
There's not a
I haven't
pastry
seen
shop within 100 miles.
I'm right by that
That I
area.
don't know.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah.
Oh, my weakness is gorgeous.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just pastries.
And they have a
for me in
walk-up
general.
window, and they have little seats outside, and so it's
Oh yeah,
pretty
that's cool.
Yeah.
So that's got to be like their third location, I
yeah,
think.
it's so
Yeah.
yeah. So, but you know, a couple of years ago, and you got to be consistent.
Mhm.
I went around and I did a postcard and it says, "Want to know about this? Want to know the latest buzz on the spring market?" And I attached flower seeds. And I put on little baggies and I put on everybody's door. I just walked by and put on people's doors. And one of my neighbors said, "Thank you for the flower seeds." For the 4th of July, the week of, I'll put American flags in front of the mailboxes. The entire neighborhood. So as you drive by, the entire neighborhood has American flags. And as
Yeah.
I'm doing it, because I'm walking my neighborhood and getting to know people, people will say, "Thank you for that." You know,
Yeah.
so I want them to know I'm not just their neighbor, but they can rely on me for real estate advice
Right.
or anything. So
Yeah, that's great. I mean, and look, there's ways to create new business avenues, right, and opportunities,
Mhm.
and having the mindset to being open to seeing them,
Mhm.
and not only seeing them but creating them. You walking down your street and hey, flags here, farming your neighborhood, and I think to your point, and I'm, we've talked about this before, but just consistency.
yes, for sure.
Staying consistent on good days, bad days, it doesn't matter. Show up.
Mhm.
And if this is your passion and this is what you want to follow, cool. Do it during the rough days, do it during the good days.
Mhm.
I think for me, one of the biggest things that was an aha for consistency is
Mhm.
like, let's say it's January 1st, you're going to work out.
Mhm.
You committed that to yourself. And now you've put up that excuse like, okay, I'll do it again tomorrow.
Mhm.
I go for the next day. And the biggest thing was like, if you can't commit to yourself,
Mhm.
what makes you think someone else will?
Right.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is so true.
Mhm.
Like if you're not showing up for yourself and say 5 a.m., no matter what, I'm going to get up and I'm going to hit that gym,
Mhm.
good or bad. It may be 15 minutes. It may be a good power workout, but you did it,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So if you don't do that, how do you
Yeah.
expect someone else to do that?
Nike's like currency is more and more valuable every single day in this market.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially now.
Yeah, doing what
Yep.
you say you're going to do.
Exactly that.
And
Mhm.
Do what you say you're going to do. I'm big on that
Mhm.
for sure.
And people
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
that connection.
Yeah.
Mhm.
of course, yeah.
Sometimes we'll get on these phone calls and it just becomes like vomit mouth of them telling us their whole life story
Yeah.
because they probably hadn't had an interaction in so long
Mhm.
because everything has become so digitalized.
Right. Yep.
Of course.
So yeah, we just want to be a resource for people. Like even like tax season, like, hey, taxes are coming. Everybody talks about their taxes.
Yeah.
Let's get somebody that can help you.
Yeah.
Let's get you a CPA or financial advisor, whatever it may be.
And
Yeah.
to her point, we always tell them, look, if you need a roofer, a plumber, an electrician, a landscaper, whatever, we have those resources. If you call us.
Yeah, realtors
Right.
are a resource for not just buying and selling your
Right.
home. Yes, you're
Right.
right. Through
Mhm.
through the course, right? You
Mhm.
met contractors,
Mhm.
you met tax advisors, you meet all kinds of
Yeah,
people
yeah.
because you also sell to them
Right.
and work
Right.
with them. So
I actually mentioned your dad to somebody yesterday. And
Mm.
she said, can I have his number? I said,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
nice.
Because her husband owns a animal dentist office.
Yeah.
And it's an older building and they want to renovate it. And so I said, well, I'll
Yeah.
connect
think,
you with
yeah.
Mr. Ortiz.
Love it.
But I mean, networking, just,
Yep.
that. We have resources.
Yeah.
We can help you through that.
For sure. And with that, ladies, if someone wants to, whether a first home buyer or just looking to buy a home, sell a home, how can they get in touch with y'all?
Well, you can visit our website,
Mhm.
realtygroup.com. We're both on Instagram and, Facebook. I'm on TikTok, so
Yeah.
it's Jeanette Feliciano
See?
and Veronica Warwick with Warwick Real Estate Group. And we both speak Spanish. So,
Awesome. Bilingual.
yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, Jeanette, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that you were able to make time for me. So, really appreciate it. It's
Yeah.
been awesome to, just, see you, one, from me having to scream at you, one more, two more, come on,
So
to now.
to
So it's been
that,
great.
okay, so to that, Ruben, honestly, I look at you and how we met and what you were doing when we met as
Yeah.
a trainer to now this amazing business owner
Oh, gosh.
and this amazing company. Like, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Honestly, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you all. Nico, thanks,
That's
man.
it. Yeah,
Appreciate
it.
it.
Thank you, guys.
We'll make sure
So-
to put all of your handles and the
Yep.
website in the bio. So check it out.
Cool.
And we'll see you next time.